Townhall, and we won't get to all of them, but we'll try to get to as many as we can. And let's do it. So we want to talk through first the highlights for the week. And normally we have Steph do this, but we have a special guest highlights this week from our one and only Maya, because Steph is out for her birthday.
Good morning.
Good morning, Maya.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, 2 weeks in, I think the thing I'm most surprised about is like how Paul's energy never changes. It's always on 10. No, it's been so much fun. And so, yes, I'm standing in for our beloved Stephanie, who's celebrating a birthday. So send her a birthday wish. And I'm going to try to make her proud with these highlights. And so some of the things that we wanted to highlight this week. On Monday, we kicked off the week with such an incredible celebration with the Versus crew. Swiss and Timbaland came, and we got to hear the juicy BTS from the last year. It was so fun because it felt like every 10 to 15 minutes, like a new person was joining. So Snoop came in, E40, Lil Jon. We even had Patti LaBelle and Ron Isley come through. It was super iconic. And so we want to thank the Versus crew for spending their 1 year on Clubhouse, and we can't wait to see what happens over the next year with them. So thank you for doing that. This week, also, we were so inspired by the diversity of perspectives and personal philosophies that were presented. So much wisdom has been shared. And, you all inspired us to be reflective and open-minded. And so some of the things that we wanted to highlight. So Ava DuVernay, I hopped in her room on Sunday for 2 hours. She did a Q&A, with up and coming filmmakers and people in the industry, and reminded us of the importance and the urgent need to have more directors of color in the film industry. Simon Sinek joined us this week, and he invited us to rethink leadership as a community with shared values and transform CEOs into CVOs, Chief Vision Officers, especially believing in infinite thinking. So thanks to the Powerhouse Club for creating that space for that incredible discussion. The Leadership Lab has been on fire. Last week they had Walter Isaacson, and this week they hosted Denise Woods, one of the world's top experts on voice, to blow our minds. She was dropping so many gems on how to optimize our voice in any situation. She shared tips on presenting ourselves with confidence, finding our voice, the importance of breath, and the rest to muster up our best voice. So thank you for reminding us that voices are the perfect gift. Another author, Alex Benayan, debuted his Third Door live. He had a packed room and brought attention that there's always a way, whether you have to, go through the front door, jump out of the line, run down the alley, bang on the door 100 times, crack open the window and sneak through the kitchen. There's always a way in to your dreams. So thank you, Alex, for your brilliance and all the stories that you shared. We also had New York Times bestselling author Harlan Coben shed some light on Think Again with Kat Cole and Adam Grant. There we learned so much about storytelling's nuances and transitioning from writing to film and TV production. And he encouraged us to trust the process from the good, the bad, the ugly when it comes to writing. And finally, last night, I don't know if you were in Felicia's dinner party, her virtual dinner party, but she had Deepak Chopra and RZA. And it felt like, that emoji where like where your head is exploding the whole time. Like, that's definitely how I felt. And so they both shared approaches on how to use art, awareness, meditation, spiritual intelligence, and unconditional love to shape our reality. We were talking about the meaning of life and why do we exist, and talking about the beauty of Kung Fu and Tai Chi and, artificial intelligence and consciousness. So it was so much fun last night. And I personally am hoping that Deepak and RZA will start a show together or something on Clubhouse. Such a cool combo. So thank you to everybody in the community who continues to make your presence felt and share wisdom and knowledge that makes us all better.
All right. Thank you so much, Maya. What a week.
Thank you. What a week.
All right. Okay. So jumping into announcements. Let's see. What do we have? Oh, happy Palm Sunday and happy Passover. And speaking of that, there is a fun event tonight. The Clubhouse Passover Seder, Night of 1,000 Jewish Stars, that Leah and Nicole and Randy and Adam and the Value Culture nonprofit slash club are putting on. And I think I heard they're going to have a bunch of really funny and amazing people like Tiffany Haddish and who else? Jeff Garland, Michael Rappaport, Chloe Feynman, Maya Bialik, Rabbi David Wolpe. Like, I think that's 4 o'clock Pacific today. So shout out to that event and to all the amazing people putting that on in the spirit of, in the spirit of the day today. Next Sunday is Easter, and we will still have town hall then because Clubhouse never sleeps. we we've been doing this world tour that we mentioned I think a couple of weeks ago, where we've had people like joining in countries all over the world, and it's been crazy and exciting and amazing. And we want to go meet the people in all of these different communities, and so we're doing a little tour. We're going and doing special kind of town hall orientation sessions with the user communities in like Italy and Brazil and Germany and Japan and countries all over the world. So we did our first one with Italy, and it was really, really fun. It was absolutely amazing. It was so great to meet so many people from that community. Someone said that my demeanor is naturally Italian because I wave my arms all the time, and and then you know, it's just a ton of fun. It was a lot of fun, and really really grateful to everyone who came for that, and very excited to spend more time with the Italian speaking community here on Clubhouse and make sure that we're building products that work for them and for everyone else in the world, regardless of where they live. And the next one that we're going to do is with the Brazilian community here at Clubhouse. And we're doing that, I think, this Wednesday.
This
So
Wednesday. Yep.
this Wednesday, amazing. So if you live in Brazil, if you speak Portuguese, if you're just interested, feel free to come by for that. And I'm so excited to do the rest of those over the coming weeks and months. We're going to keep doing them and keep visiting a lot of different countries, and so to speak, here at Clubhouse. Um, Last announcement was the Creator First Accelerator program. The final day to submit your application for that is this Wednesday, March 31st. And we've gotten a lot of applications for that. We're really, really, really excited about that. The idea, just to remind you, is that um, we, there have just been so many incredible creators here on Clubhouse and so many amazing people out in the world who are smart and funny and have domain expertise and are great at bringing people together. And we want to make sure that we are supporting them. And we want to make sure that every time you open your app, you see conversations in your hallway that are interesting and exciting and relevant to you. And so what we want to do is say, okay, if you're a creator, you've got an idea, you want to invest, you want to go all in. Maybe you want to do like a daily show, but maybe you don't have an iPhone. Maybe you don't have advanced equipment. Maybe you're not sure how to promote it. Maybe you're not sure how to get feedback on it, or you need help to hire a babysitter for a few hours a week so you can prepare your show. Um, while we work on building out tools to make all of these things easier for everyone, we wanted to do this program to just make sure that we are supporting creators and to learn how we can better support creators. And so it's a 3-month program where we work on just helping make your shows amazing. Like, if you need equipment, we can help you get equipment. If you need help with concept development, we can do that. If you need matching with guests, we can do that. We can help with like design services and promotion and making sure you have invites to bring in an audience and matching you with brand sponsors. And if we can't find brand sponsors, then we'll guarantee some basic amount of income for you, which is $5,000 a month, either through the brand sponsors or if not, backstop by Clubhouse, and just be there to support you. And so it's a pretty, it's pretty. It's like a high level of commitment. It's you really want to do it. We're emphasizing daily shows, and but we've gotten thousands of submissions, and we're going to start going through those furiously and sort of sorting through all that sort of stuff come Wednesday. So Wednesday, March 31st is the last day to submit for that. And if you have any questions, just please reach out to us anytime. And creatorfirst.joinclubhouse.com is where you go to learn more. And there's also a link there to contact us if you have questions. Okay, that is it for announcements, I believe. Let's go into product. Okay, this past week's release, we're still waiting for approval on it. We submitted it last Tuesday. I'm not going to give the details away, but it's a really cool release. It's something really cool for creators, and hopefully we'll have more details on that. Who knows? Maybe by the end of town hall. If not, maybe today. Maybe in the coming days. But please know that we're doing everything we can to get that out to you very soon, and it's going to be a really exciting one. And then next week's release, I mentioned that we're working to really focus in on clubs and club founders, the people who are bringing people together, who are hosting shows and conversations. We know there are so many requests that you've had, and those are not lost on us. And we want to do a release or two that's really dedicated to that. So there's this issue where, the member and the follower counts, we only emphasize the member count, but if you've got a show with a big following, it makes it so that when people look at your club profile, they don't realize how big and influential your club is. And so we want to fix that problem for you this week. We want to make sure that you can bring more people in from outside of Clubhouse to grow your audience and build that over time, and that you're not limited to the people that you're currently reaching within Clubhouse. We want to make it so that when people come to your club profile, they can see the next event that's coming up. If there's not an event coming up, we want to make it easy for you to go schedule an event coming up. We want to let's see, there's a lot of other stuff that we're working through around like member management, how we can make that easier. Some of this stuff will make it into this week's release, and some of it might make it into the next one. But really, this upcoming release is all about club founders and improving your lives and giving you the tools that you've been asking for. So thank you for your patience on that. Really excited to get that out. Also, we're doing a lot of stuff on discovery. Like, the reality is, like, as we've grown, there are way more rooms, way more languages, and we need to make sure that we're always showing you the best people to follow, the best clubs to join, the best rooms in your feed, that we're sending you the best notifications. And honestly, we've got a lot of work to do. So we've been working aggressively to grow the team, to build out our machine learning team, our discovery team, and to make that a huge area of focus. So we're doing a lot of work under the hood to improve all of those things continuously. So look for changes there over the coming weeks and months. And then another area of focus is just really growing our support operations, things like trust and safety, making sure that as we grow, as we move into different languages, we can always get you really quick support in a way that feels native to you, and in your language, and that we're just making sure that we're staying one step ahead of things there, and sort of keeping pace with the growth of the community. So those are some of the things that we're focused on for the next release, and so many other things that we want to build. And that's a good plug, as always, for our jobs page. If you go to joinclubhouse.com and scroll to jobs at the bottom, there are going to be a lot more listings popping up there soon. But if you're interested in helping us build this, we would love to hear from you. We love hiring people who we meet in the user community. And please go there if you're interested in being part of what we're building. Okay, Anu, should we get into Q&A?
We absolutely should.
Let's do it.
We've got a full 40 minutes. I'm very excited about this.
I love it.
Okay. As always, we will start with some product and feature related questions. And you kind of prefaced the work that we have on clubs coming up. So we did get a bunch of questions around club admin tools.
Yeah.
I thought we could knock out some of those and answer those and give people a preview on it.
Perfect.
Okay. First question, a simple question. When I started my club, I did not know that I couldn't change the name, and I chose a name without enough care, but I really want to change the name now. Please set a rule, for example, to allow changing it once or maybe once every 6 months. This would be a great favor.
Yes. Okay. So club name changes, this is kind of the same as like room name changes.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason that we don't make that super easy to do is because we want to protect the people who have already decided to join the club or join the room, because you can imagine it could be an abuse vector, right? Like with rooms, we talked about this, where imagine you're in a room and it's got some nice innocuous title, and then someone wants to be funny and they come in and they change the title to something terrible, and then they immediately screenshot it as you being a speaker in that room. That would be bad. And so what we needed to do, so we want to do for room titles is we want to have like attribution showing when it was edited and by whom and then you think about it, you'd probably want that to appear in the hallway as well because you see room titles and a list of participants in the hallway. So like it's just a little bit more involved than you might initially think. And with clubs, it's the same thing. Like if a bunch of people have joined a club and it's got a certain name, a certain purpose, if someone came in and they changed it to something, if they were trying to be funny, they could come in and change it to something terrible. And then you would suddenly be a member of this club that you do not want to be a member of. And so we just want to protect against that. And the way that you see other networks do it, I think the minimum thing that you want to do is notify every member of the club that the name has now changed so they can be aware of it. They can opt out if they want to opt out and have good community guidelines, terms of service around um, ill-intentioned club name changes. But even if they are innocuous, right? It could be a bad experience for the members because suddenly they're in a club and even if it's slightly different, they don't remember joining it. So we'll get a bunch of questions around that. So so those are the types of things that we need to manage. And so far, we haven't gotten a ton of requests to change club names, and so that's why we haven't prioritized it yet. But I understand that that's like a pretty basic piece of um, it's a basic piece of infrastructure that we want to build. And like all things in Clubhouse, it's really like um, every week we try and ship often and we try and ship big things frequently, but we always need to focus on the most important things. And as we've been growing, there's so many things that we need to build. um, and so things like discovery, things like the club admin features that we've been talking about, those are just currently higher priority than this, but I 100% agree that you should be able to do this. We just want to do it the right way to protect the members of the club and other people within the community. Anytime there's something that's potentially an abuse factor, that we kind of have to be pretty thoughtful about how we roll it out.
Yeah, I will plus one the prioritization, of course, but this is definitely something we've actually been talking about in our internal product discussions already and thinking through all the stuff that you mentioned we need to before we would implement it. So it is in progress.
Okay. That's
Okay.
a more optimistic answer than mine, which I love.
All right, it's on our radar. That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
It's on our radar.
100%.
Okay. Question around member management. With the new club creator tools, will there be functionality that will allow club owners to reset which people are members rather than followers? Lots of us began inviting members before knowing that monetization was coming, and it'd be helpful to be able to add or retract membership, but still have everyone as followers.
Ooh, this is a juicy one. Okay. Okay, well, how long do we have? We have till 10? Okay, hold on.
Let's try to do a few more questions after this one.
Okay. So clubs are really just like groups, right? Like that's what they are, but we're called Clubhouse, so of course they have to be called clubs. But people use them in a few different ways. So one way that people use them is they use them like an event series. Like you're a creator, maybe there are two of you or four of you that put this show on, and you do it every week or every day, and you create a club. And that club is really it's like a podcast to your episodes or like a TV show to your episodes. It's like an event series, right? And that's a great way to use a club. Another way that people use clubs is they use them like communities, where if you have a group of people who are all really passionate about painting or cricket or any of the thousands of other things that we've seen here, furniture making or like web design. Like there are there are all these communities where people come together and it's really more like a group of peers talking. They set it up so that anyone can start a room. They make it usually pretty open to the community, and a lot of people come in and they have that interest and they discover it and they join. And it's great. It's like a community of people just meeting up regularly to talk about something that they love. And then the third way people use clubs is like a private organization, like all the people in their company or their small friend group. And so right now the club feature set is it's pretty flexible, but it also makes it it makes it so it can be a little bit. I think it could be simplified right now, right? And so the thing here is that um, th this person is saying I had a lot of people who followed my club, and I invited them to be members, and you know, looking forward like to a time when we have monetization features that allow you to charge club membership fees, it sounds like they want to have a way to say, well, anyone can follow my club, and if you want to pay this membership fee per month, then you can be a member of the club, and you can join the private membership rooms, and you can have these other um, permissions, and I think that's great. So let me so that's sort of the baseline here. Um, I mentioned we're doing a lot of like club admin features. One of the things that we're thinking about is whether we can simplify the member and follower model, because right now there are a few issues with it. One that I alluded to earlier is you can invite people to be a member of your club, but you can't invite people to be a follower of your club. So a lot of people who are looking to build their following, um, they make everyone a member, even though they really just want them to be a follower. They make them a member because you can't invite someone to follow. You can only invite them to be a member. So we structurally set it up to incentivize that, which is our fault, even though that wasn't our intention. And the other thing is, um, if you go to someone's club page, it shows the number of members, but it doesn't show the number of followers. So again, you have this incentive to make everyone a member, even though that's not what we originally intended, right? But it's perfectly natural behavior. And that could be really hard because if you have this big list of followers, you have to go and like manually convert them all to be members, which takes a bunch of time, and it's just a bad setup. So we're trying to fix that. So one of the things that we want to do is just change the count so that we show a single number, like we do in the topic directory right now, that combines the number of members and the number of followers, because that's really an indication of how many people are interested in this club and how many people like this club and are following this club. So if you do that, then you can imagine you don't really feel that same pressure to make every follower a member. It's just one number, and it doesn't change that number if you convert them. So it'll hopefully take that pressure away. The next level that we're thinking about is um, you should probably have a way, like, should you have a way to auto approve members where you just say, like, anyone who wants to be a member can be a member of the club? And so the thing that we were talking about this past week is what if I'm going to throw this out here in the spirit of like thinking out loud and building in public and getting feedback. But let me tell you the discussion we were having. We were saying, well, what if we just collapse the two so that there's really only a concept of members, and you can choose your club to be an open club where anyone can be a member. So if anyone, like, there's just a join button and anyone can join, you don't have to approve them. Or you can have a club where you want to curate who's a member and you manually have to approve people like you do today. But that's really it. There's only one concept. You're just a member of the club or you're not. And you can set your club up so that anyone can be a member, or so that you have to approve who the members are. And and it's kind of like in the real world, like there are a lot of clubs, and some of them are meant to be broad, and like anyone could be a member of the AAA club, or you know, there are a lot of clubs out there where anyone could be a member, or like a fan club of a, you know, celebrity. Anyone can be a member of that. Um, Sometimes they're free, sometimes you pay dues, but anyone can join. And then there are other clubs that are more sort of private, or more curated or selective, and that's fine too. And when you set up your club, you can choose whether it's a broad and inclusive club or whether it's a more curated club. And if we did that, it would simplify things a lot. It would, you could argue that it would take away some of the flexibility to have a club with both members and followers, where you could have the flexibility to meet privately, but also occasionally host public conversations where that broader set of followers get notified. My personal view, and I want to get people's feedback on this, which is why I'm talking through it right now. My personal view is like, uh, that does happen, but it doesn't, it's kind of an edge case. It doesn't happen that often. And I think there are solutions to that problem. Like if you're a mostly public club, like you're really kind of like an event series, and you want to occasionally meet privately, maybe we could create a special tier of like officers. And maybe they would have the right to open a room, but not like add and remove members. Like I know Ed has requested that, and we hear that loud and clear. But maybe you could have like a special tier of officers, and you can meet privately with them if you wanna meet privately occasionally, or maybe we could have another tier for paid members when we introduce that feature in the future, and you could still so you could still have that flexibility to meet with a specific subset of people within that club privately if you wanted to do that. But by and large, you would be meeting publicly with anyone who's a member of that club and anyone else who wants to join the room. If you're a mostly private club, but you occasionally want to meet publicly, well, you'd still get people would still get notified about those public meetings if they followed any of the speakers. Maybe we can notify anyone who's applied to your club but hasn't been approved yet if it's a public conversation. So I'm getting really in the weeds there, but basically what I'm saying is I think that there are different ways to design it, and I think there are ways that we could simplify it. So we're thinking about that stuff a lot right now. If you have strong feedback on this idea of simplifying the model to collapse members and followers, please write to us and let us know. It's just support@joinclubhouse.com. And the one thing I would say to the person who originally asked this question is whatever we do, like as we evolve that model to improve it for all the people who are organizing clubs, we will definitely take into account all of the legacy issues. So like if you need to convert people from followers to members or vice versa, if you're thinking like, if we introduced a paid tier and you had already made everyone a member, we would absolutely take that into account and make sure that we're not leaving people in a bad position when we do that. Because I know that like whatever we do, we want it to be strictly better and to make sure that no one is left in a bad spot because they've spent time investing in a club. Like if you've invested in a club, then we're not going to leave you in a bad spot there. We're going to make sure that transition is something that you can really smoothly manage.
All right. That is a lot. I'm excited about.
I know, sorry, it's a lot. It's like a big juicy area, but it's so important to the people who are like putting clubs together. So I just want to make sure
it is. I feel like we had a lot of these questions earlier on about, who should be a member and who should be a follower, and I'm excited that we're starting to actually like dig into this a lot.
Yeah, I also it's something that I think is a really good part of Townhall too. Like it's pretty crazy to have a product where you can talk with people in the user community while they're using it. And anytime we're making things that would affect a lot of people like this, I like it. It's really useful to be able to talk out loud about them here and then get people's feedback on it. In either like the rooms that follow Townhall or via email or something else.
Yeah, I love listening into the rooms after Townhall and getting feedback.
Me too.
Like, pretty much real time. Okay. Few more things that kind of relate to clubs. So one is around scheduling club events.
Yes.
I think I speak for many club owners when I say, can we please have an inbuilt calendar or scheduling system for club events? When you have an active club, events may, quote, clash or have conflict in timing, and it'd be awesome to be able to plan our events as a collective. What do you think? So I think this is like slightly different than just being able to organize and display club events, but actually about co-organizing with admins of clubs.
Okay. So there are a couple things that I hear here. One is like when I am scheduling, this is something I think would be useful for everyone, even if it's not a collective. Like when I am scheduling an event, can you make it really easy for me to see what other events are going to be happening at that time? Right?
Yeah, or I'm wondering if it's also like if other admins have conflicts for that time.
Right. Does that mean that if other admins want to go see another show at that time, or if they're putting on another show at that time?
Yeah, that's a good question. Or whether their calendar has something else on it, which seems even more interesting. So a lot of things.
This can get pretty hairy. Okay. So a few things I'd say. One is like when you schedule an event in the calendar, it feels like it would be useful to be able to tell you what other events are happening at the time. And then there's a whole lot of like next level, the next level, the next level things that you could do, right? You could imagine you would say, if any of those events are involve someone who's a co-host, you could, I mean, in the future, you could do stuff that's like, well, the people that follow your club are also follow the people who are hosting these shows, right? Like you could try and get into conflicts. You could try and get into like when is the ideal. Really, what you want to get to is like when is the ideal time for me to host this conversation, and that might be because there aren't other competitive shows that are happening right then. It might be because they're if you think about like supply and demand for that hour more generally, it could be more personalized to you based on who follows your club or based on the topic. And then, of course, there are things that happen last minute. Like we've had people who have scheduled a conversation a week in advance, and it's like all good. And then minutes before their conversation is about to go live, some like really well-known person comes in and does like a surprise room, and it can be tricky, right? It's tricky with live stuff, and I think that this is one of those areas where we are going to just be, it's kind of like discovery, right? Like I think the calendar just has to get better and better and better. And it's not something where we've really focused over the past few months. So it needs a lot of work. So like one thing that it needs is a more, it needs better filtering for the, for the upcoming for you. It needs a more compact view so you can scroll through it more easily. It needs a more developed like RSVP or notification system. We need the ability to like hide events and report events, and all of the stuff that you're talking about kind of goes on top of that. So I know that's not a good answer because I'm not really proposing solutions, but it's really just an acknowledgement that like that's the calendar is an area that we're going to be optimizing for months, I think, if not years, because it's really important. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. So I appreciate this question, honestly, because like
Mhm.
it's not something that was top of mind for us. It's not something we've thought about a lot, but I can see how important it is, especially because collectives and collaborations are such an important part of the structure of the Clubhouse community.
Yeah, and I think your point around like just being able to tell people when is the best time to host something is a question we've gotten a lot, and this is definitely a subset of that.
Yeah, 100%, right? I mean,
Yep.
it's almost like how it's almost like ad targeting. We don't do ads, but like
Mhm.
where the systems over the years have just gotten better and better at saying like here's when you should do it, or
Yep.
you know here's what you should bid. Yeah.
Okay. Question
Okay.
about large clubs. Like, so
Yes.
someone wrote into us, I have thousands of group members in a Facebook group. They would love me to start a club on Clubhouse. However, you won't let me do that yet because I haven't qualified to use the feature. If you want some people to bring on these bigger, very active groups, what are you thinking about to make this realistic?
Yes. Okay. So a few things that I'd speak to there. One is if you have not qualified to start a club yet, it probably just means you're very new. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think I don't think it's a very strict requirement. It's like we want everyone to be able to start a club. We added a little bit of a few requirements there just to just to safeguard against spam or bots or anything like that. So I think if you've been on the app for a week or so, if you've talked in a few rooms, if you have a few followers, like it should be open to you. And if you're not seeing that, let us know, and we can figure out what's going on. But it should be open to almost everyone. And so the second thing, and for anyone who doesn't know, the way you start a club is you go to your profile, then go to the member of section that lists your clubs. And at the end of that, there will be a plus button. And if you tap on the plus button, you can go create a new club. And the second thing is making it easier for you to invite external people to your club, or specifically to your club event. So if you think about this idea as like I set up a club, if there's no upcoming event, then we should say like, hey, you should schedule an event. Like that's what clubs are about. Clubs are their event. They are really like a series of conversations, whether it's public or private. Like the reason to have a club is to have a series of conversations, and so we should make that clearer. And when you start a club, we should be like, great, start your event, schedule your event. And when you schedule the event, we should be like, great, now go tell people about it. Here's a link. Let's make it really easy for you. And let's allow you to bring a large audience in if you want to bring a large audience in, if you have a large audience off the app. And and then when they come in, let's orient them. Let's make sure they know why they're here, and how to get to your event. Really like optimize that entire flow so that it's very, very easy for you to grow your club successfully. And that's actually the core focus of the release that we're working on this week. So, so I think we have a good answer to this one. It is, if you don't yet have a club, if you're not yet eligible to create your club, like you should be if you've been on for a week or so, and if you talked a couple times. If not, let us know, and we'll make sure that you are. And then our entire focus this week is going to be on addressing all the issues that you mentioned. And so hopefully by the next town hall, we'll have a bunch of stuff ready for you.
And speaking of conversation series, can we explain how recurring events as a feature might work?
Oh yeah. So so recurrent events. So the reason that we didn't have those in the early days was because the calendar, it wasn't tied to the actual room. So the calendar, when it started, was just like a Notion doc, and it's just kind of a way for you to say to the community, heads up, I plan to start a room at 6 o'clock on Thursday that's titled this. And even when we built it initially into the app, they were not linked on the back end. So if you started a room at that time, that like our system would have no knowledge that that was at all related to this entry in the calendar. And now they are linked, right? Which is why when you put a room in the calendar, if you open up the app within 10 minutes or so of that scheduled room time and you tap the green button, it'll say, oh, are you intending to start this event that you scheduled already in the calendar? And if you say yes, it'll carry over the title and the description and the co-hosts, and they can automatically join as speakers, and like it'll notify everyone, and it's all tightly integrated. And the reason that we didn't have recurring events was because if we had no way of tracking no shows, you can imagine these situations where well-intentioned people put like a recurring daily show in the calendar at the beginning of the year, just like you would with a New Year's resolution for going to the gym. And then for whatever reason, they couldn't keep up with it. And the calendar is just littered with all of these events that just don't actually happen. That'd be a terrible experience for the user community, right? Um, so the nice thing about the calendar right now is every time you see an event, it's almost like you can be quite confident that that event is actually going to happen. So if you add it to your Apple Calendar, your Google Calendar, and you show up, like it's going to happen. And if we allowed recurring events without any safeguards, that probably wouldn't be the case. You'd probably have a lot of events that were just kind of, stale garbage events that were never really happening. And so the only thing that we want to do before we build in recurring events is to make it so that if you schedule a recurrent event and you don't end up starting it, you don't end up showing, then we say, hey, looks like you're not doing this event anymore. We're going to take it off the calendar if you don't show up next time. And then if you don't show up next time, we would just remove it from the calendar so that people don't have a bad experience on the receiving end. And there are other things that we could do in the meantime to make it easier to create recurring events. Like we could allow you to duplicate a past event or something like that, so you don't have to retype things. So that stuff is that's sort of how it would work. So I imagine when you set up an event, it would say, is it one time or is it recurring? And if it's recurring, we would just add it to the calendar automatically, and then we'd want to detect no shows so that we can remove it from the calendar if it ever gets stale.
All right. I'm going to try to go a little bit faster so we can get through a lot of questions.
Okay. I will also try and go faster than you, since I'm probably the bottleneck here.
Okay, no, we always have so many questions. I think that's the thing, which is great. Okay, couple of big ones around creators and monetization.
Yes.
First one around sponsorships. Are club
Yes.
hosts allowed to earn money through paid sponsorships?
I am not a lawyer, but yes. Okay, so from our perspective, yeah, I think that's fantastic. I love that. I want creators to be able to make money, and if brands want to pay them to host great conversations for people, I think that's wonderful. And we want to build that into the product. We want to help, we just want to help make that easier. And we see it happening organically in a lot of different places today. And I think that's wonderful. Like I think that the what are some examples we talked about? Like the I Am Wow game show.
Yeah.
That's like, I think Square gave them like $100,000 to just give away as prize money, and that's amazing. If you look at like the Night of a Thousand Jewish Stars tonight. They've got a whole bunch of like BuzzFeed Tasties a sponsor, like a bunch of other people have sponsored it. I think that's great. The only caveat I would say, so my main thing is like philosophically we love it and we want to support it. There are laws around disclosing sponsored content legally in certainly in the U.S. and I'm sure in other countries too. And the high level requirement is that you need to when something is sponsored, you, the creator, have an obligation to disclose that it is sponsored, and I believe the brand does too. So I think if you're going to do it, just like take a look at what the laws are. But I think like if you're doing it and you're disclosing that it's sponsored, then um, again, not a lawyer, but I think that is great. And we have a head of policy starting tomorrow, which I'm really excited about. And we'll try to get more specific guidance for everyone in the community guidelines in case there are ever questions around that, so we can point them towards resources so they can know what they need to do. But yeah, in general, like we're really excited about that. We want to help creators get paid by brands. That sounds fantastic to me.
Okay, and then you had mentioned our Creator First program at the top. We had a
Yes.
quick question on this, which I think is actually a really good question, just around, what language should people be applying in if they're international? So someone wrote us, I'm from Turkey, Istanbul, and I'm mostly hosting rooms and moderating in my native language. I guess the first question is, can I apply for this? And if so, should I upload my audio recording and kind of fill out my application in Turkish or English?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So Maya and Steph and I were talking about this and with Fadia and Naomi. So like the yes, you can apply in any language. Maya, I hope you're not mad at me for saying this. I think that this is right. But like we are really, really, really excited about supporting creators all around the world. The app right now is not localized into other languages. It's in the app is in English only. And as an internal team, we are better at English than we are at other languages. But we're really excited to see people uh, applying to do non-English shows. So imagine that most of the shows, because the app is English only right now in terms of the UI, most of the shows will probably be English language shows, but we are um, we are absolutely accepting submissions in other languages, and we'll find whatever resources we need to review those, to evaluate those, and I think we will end up with people, and I'm very confident we'll end up with people um, in the program who are doing shows completely in other languages, and that is on us to figure out how to properly evaluate those and support those. Um, so Steph is not here today, as we mentioned, and she's the one who's driving all this sort of stuff. But yes, please, please, please apply, and we'll figure out how to make sure we're properly supporting you.
Okay, I'm gonna do some quick hits around discovery.
Yes.
Room search. Most people I talk to on Clubhouse say how great it would be if there was a feature to search for concurrent rooms, or at least scheduled rooms. I assume this is like by entering text or looking for a topic. Any plans related to this?
Yes, not in the next couple of weeks, but I definitely agree we should have that too. And for certain, for here's where I think it's most useful. One is for scheduled rooms where you know a room is happening and you want to find it.
Mm-hmm.
That is harder than it should be. So we want to make it really easy to search for that. And that should be in the, well, that should be in the feed. It should be in the calendar. The one workaround that we're going to have, I guess, is that if it is a club show, I know this is not the full solution, but one thing we're doing this week is we're adding the next upcoming show or any room that's currently in progress that's hosted by a club. We're going to add it to the club page, and you can already search for clubs in the topic directory. Just tap the magnifying glass, search, and then toggle the clubs. So there will be a way to get to it like in this next week, but we want to improve that over time 100%. And the other time when it's useful to search by keyword, I think, is where something happens in the real world and people are discussing it, and you just want to search for the keyword to find the rooms where people are discussing that thing. So yes, we will have that, but not in the next couple of weeks, but like 100%, it's so obviously needed.
Okay, a fun question about
Yes.
getting a preview into rooms from the feed. Actually, there's a couple of related questions. One, could we have a confirmation feature before joining the room? Basically, because you might unintentionally click in without really knowing what it's about. And two, it'd be great if you could get a quick sneak peek into a room, either by being able to look at the folks' profiles who are hosting the room from the feed, or even hearing the audio before joining.
Okay, a couple things. One is a confirmation feature before joining the room. I don't think we'll do that from the feed.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we need that, then we failed on our design. I do think the biggest issue here is where someone it accidentally taps one of the green notifications that pop down from the top. And we were talking there about, do we have like a 5-second delay, or do we have an undo button or something like that? Or do we just improve the design of that? Because I know that that is not optimal right now. And I think we just need to fix that design. But if we made you confirm every single time you wanted to enter a room from the feed, that just means something else is wrong with our design. So I don't think we will do that. Now, the question about a sneak peek into a room, I think that would be super cool, and I think it would be I like it would be a very nice thing to have as a listener. But I think it's bad for the creator, because that means the creator could have people listening to their rooms without seeing who they are. And whenever we have to make decisions, we always prioritize the creator. And anyone can be a creator, right? Anyone can be a creator. If you start the room, if you choose to host, if you're bringing people together, like, you're the creator. It's like creator with a lowercase c. And anytime the wishes of the creator are at odds with the wishes of a listener or would-be listener, we have this decision framework where we always pick the creator. So that's why we wouldn't do it. And even though it would be cool from a consumption perspective, the idea of being able to see someone's profile before you enter, I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not the most important thing that we're working on right now, but I like that idea philosophically. We'd have to figure out like tap targets, and maybe if you like tap and hold on someone, you could see their bio before you enter. Like, I bet there are cool things that you could do there.
Absolutely. A quick one around event suggestions. So similar to how we have a hide a room on the feed,
Yeah.
question around whether we could do something like that on the events calendar.
Yes, we should do that, but we don't have that yet. Next. Sorry, I'm just looking at the clock.
No,
no,
that's
it.
it.
I'm like, we have so many questions to get to.
All right, quick things on notifications.
Sorry. We should let you hide it, but we should also just make it better, and that's on us.
Yes.
And that goes back to some of the stuff we were talking about before.
We'll append that to all of our answers. Okay, for notifications, the ability to turn off notifications to followers for when I am speaking. So I think we've touched upon this once or twice.
Oh yeah, yes. I think that's we have a design for that, but we haven't implemented yet. And maybe in like, I'd love to get to it in like 3 to 4 weeks.
Ooh,
I think that
was exciting.
Yeah, no guarantees, because like our roadmap changes. Like, basically we plan our roadmap 2 weeks out because we learned so much that like the most important thing can shift, 2 weeks from now. But like it is tentatively slotted for like, 3 to 4 weeks, one of those two releases out.
Okay, and then on notifications, is there any way to turn off notifications specifically from clubs as opposed to for individuals?
That's a great idea. We should do that. We're doing a full notification audit right now. Notifications, there's so much that we can do to improve them, and there's so much that we are going to do to improve them, which I'm really, really excited about. So we just hired another person on the discovery team, and we're going to hire another one soon, hopefully. And like, we're going through and looking at all the different notification types and what are the tap through rates and which ones are useful and which ones are not useful. How do we take into account like, a better understanding of which ones you like getting and you don't like getting? It's so important, and there's so much we can do to improve it. And I think that this is a good specific suggestion for how we can give you more control over that. So yeah, we should do that.
When are we going to be on Android?
Oh my gosh. So I saw a preview. Of our Android app this past week, and it works. It's really exciting. It's so let me set expectations properly, because it's this stuff always takes like a little bit of time to polish and finalize, and I don't want to overpromise. Maybe I'll let Rohan speak to this. Rohan, what do you think expectations are for Android?
Tomorrow. No, I'm joking.
Oh my God,
That's the
Rohan.
release we're waiting for. Not at all.
No, so we have Mopewa and David working on it, and Harshan joins us tomorrow. And I don't know, like let's hope it's in a few weeks. I don't know, 4 weeks, 6 weeks.
What?
I don't know. I
No.
don't want to overcommit and under deliver. So but we're working hard, and I'm so excited.
It's so important. It's so important. We're working really hard on it. So I would say, I don't know, if we got it out in May, that would be very exciting. But
This is great. I feel
we'll
like we
see.
can upgrade our phrase to not days, not months, but weeks.
Well, it is months technically, but yeah.
All right, fair. Okay. That is super exciting. I feel like we're gonna hear some feedback on that.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Okay. A few, like 2 or 3 things that have come up from a few folks. Just more explanatory questions around trust and safety stuff that I know we don't have too long, but I'd love for you to answer.
Yeah.
One just around the reporting pathway. So what should I do if I see a room title that is offensive or hateful, for example? I can't seem to report it from outside the room, but only from a user's profile who is in the room.
Yeah, right now you can only report from inside the room by tapping on a user profile or directly from the user profile. So we used to have room level reporting was kind of the default, and then we made it more specific by having it be user level reporting, and that's actually that's much better because like at the end of the day, if there's a violation of the terms of service, it has to affect or be driven by a user rather than by a room, right? And so that's how you do it today. We do have a design for a new model that also allows you to report it at the room level from outside. But in the meantime, if you see a room title that is problematic, like please report it. If you're not sure which person to report because you got into the room late, it would be the person in the upper left who's the mod, who is usually the room creator, unless the room creator has left. And we can always check on the back end to confirm that stuff, so you won't falsely accuse someone if you do that, and we will conduct a swift investigation and take action as needed.
Okay. Yeah, excited about having the ability to report from all the different sources and screens, hopefully soon.
100%.
Question around non-audio, I guess like recording and transcriptions. We cannot record sessions and post elsewhere without explicitly stating the session is recorded in the title. However, can we write blogs and recaps about the discussions, and could that include quotes, or does it need to be paraphrased to comply with your guidelines?
Yeah, so this goes back to the whole creator first like decision framework, and our whole philosophy here is that if you do a show and you want to record it and you want to go make a podcast out of it or something else, that's great. Like you should do that, and we support you, and it's your content, and you should do whatever you want with it, and we should make that really easy. But if you're doing a show, you're doing a conversation, and you don't want people to record it, then they should not be able to record it, and they should not be able to post it anywhere. And so that is how we think about it, and everything that we do on the product front flows from that. And so the way so with that in mind, it's sort of like, well, if people want you to do these things, you should be able to do them, and if the creator does not want you, then not want you to do it, then we should build the right features and tools to allow them to communicate it and to enforce it. So go to the community guidelines to get details on how we think about this at the top of every room, or you can go to community.joinclubhouse.com. It's that little page icon you see at the upper right. And the way it works today is that audio recordings and transcriptions are prohibited without the explicit consent of the speakers. Saying that it's recorded in the title it's a nice thing to do, and it's a norm that has sort of emerged. So, but it's not explicitly required. What is required is that you have the permission of all of the speakers. And with regards to other areas like recaps and paraphrasing, I think that if you read the letter of the community guidelines right now, I don't think it explicitly spells out all the details of what is okay and what is not okay. And so I think we should take that as an action item to get more specific guidance on that. And like I was saying, we have a head of policy, Jess, who's starting tomorrow, and I'm so excited about that. And I already shot her a note to see if we can get better guidance on that this week, so we can have more clarity on that for people next week. But really, the spirit of it will be, if the person wanted the talk um, to be public and wanted people to know about it and want people to share and want people to talk about it, then like, great, we want to enable that. And if they don't want it to be that way, then we want to help protect them from that. So that's kind of how we think about it.
Okay, one more quick one. Unfortunately, we're facing some cases inside our community where people are blocking and sending reports. So just because the other users are competitors in some sense, is there any chance to get more protections against this?
Yeah, so intentional or like malicious false reporting is against the rules. It's a violation, and it results in warning, suspension, or removal based on the case. And we're actually doing some work this week to look at the user reporting flow with a bit of a you know, deep with a closer eye. So we want to make it easier to for people to know how to report, to submit reports, to do it really quickly without having to scroll, without having to type too much, to help ensure that people are providing higher quality reports. And we're building out internal tooling right now to better detect any false or inappropriate use of the reporting feature, including false reporting. Like if you know someone is weaponizing that or doing it with ill intention, we want to be able to detect that and to take action on the person who is doing the false reporting. So I guess the short answer is, yep, it is definitely something that we've thought about, and it's something we're actively working on this week. And any feedback that you have or details or the details you can provide to help us understand what's happening to you if you are experiencing this are really, really helpful in informing that product work. So please just shoot us a note if that is happening, and we'll make sure we fix it.
Okay, we're 2 minutes over, but I have one more question.
One more question, let's do it.
That came in that I thought would be nice and call back to some of the stuff we discussed around creators.
Great.
Okay. There are already so many conversations and shows being hosted each day in lots of different topics. For example, music, beauty, lots of shows on news recently. Is it too late to start a new series in some of the established areas? Should we be looking at new categories instead? And I guess related, do we have to do daily programs in order for the show to get reach?
Oh man, too early or too late. I mean, no, no, it's not too late. Are you kidding me? No. I mean, I appreciate the question, but absolutely not. Like, if you think about there are billions of people in the world, and if you think about I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of topics that people are deeply passionate about, you can have so many different takes on any one topic, and so many new formats that haven't been invented yet. And when people come to a show, when they come to a conversation, they're coming because of you, because they like your specific take on it, and they like the way that that you bring people together, right? They think that you're funny, they think you're smart, they think you have great expertise. Like, they're coming because of you. So absolutely not. It is not too late. Like, when I think about the formats, like it. I mean, they're like they talked about a couple of them. I have seen a lot more news lately, which I love, and I think that's fantastic. But like, you, you know, like daytime group talk shows and like singing contests and talk shows with studio audiences and game shows and morning news shows and language learning and nighttime storytelling for kids and advice shows and open mics and comedy shows and celebrity news shows and 24-hour news shows. We haven't seen one of those yet, really, and like stations, and that's not even getting into verticals like people are running like meditation sessions and writing songs live, and podcasters are doing after shows for their podcasts, and look at sports like pre-games and in-games and post-game shows, and like I love the idea of people that things regularly, like journalists coming in to discuss their posts. I was emailing with someone yesterday about doing their earnings call in Clubhouse. We were emailing with this company about doing their company town halls, or we were talking with a mayoral candidate about how he could use Clubhouse to do like actual town halls, and we've seen like Kat bringing on authors and doing book tours here, and like law firms and venture firms giving legal advice, and I mean neighborhoods and like conferences doing things on Clubhouse, and there's just much so much that you could do. So I think even if it's a category, like I think that this person mentioned music and beauty and news, like if it is a category, think about how many like YouTube creators there are, and how many websites there are, and how many like the internet is a broad and beautiful thing, and the world is an even broader and more beautiful thing, and absolutely not too late for any of this stuff. And we're here to support. So I would say you do not need to look at a new category. Just do something that you love, do something you're passionate about, and let us help you think through formats. If you're interested in applying to the accelerator program, because you really want to invest deeply, like you mentioned, like, the question was, does it have to be a daily program? No, it doesn't have to be a daily program. But I do think daily programs are great because they they help people. They build these relationships, right? People um, develop this people will come back every day. They'll come back every morning, every evening. They'll get to know you just like you would a morning news show that you put on when you're driving to work, or a late night talk show when you're unwinding at the end of the day, or something that you listen to during lunch, or in your commute to work, or your commute back from work, or at the gym. Like I think that those are good, but I also think like weekly shows that are that take more work, that are higher production, that where you really want to invest and do it once a week, that's fine too. As long as people know when to come back and it's a regular recurring thing, I think you're going to be much more successful because people know when it's happening. They build it into their routine, they build it into their calendar. So, yeah, I'm sorry, I could talk about it for a long time, but the short answer is no, it's not too late. You should do it on whatever topic you're excited about. You should think about new formats that are native to Clubhouse. You should try and do it. If you're serious about building an audience, look for the features that we're going to be launching for you soon, to help you bring in an external audience, to help you monetize this stuff, to help you reach people on Android, and just we want to be here to support you. So no, it's not too late. I'm so excited people ask that question. It's blown my mind to see um, the creativity that people have, the things that they're doing every day, and I think we're only at a tiny fraction of where it's going. So thank you for asking the question, and I can't wait to see what you create.
Heavy +1 to that.
I know.
10:08.
It's so funny you asked that question. I'm like, no, it's not too late. What are you talking about?
But you'd
All
be
right.
surprised, we actually get that question, like a fair number of times in different ways. So
I mean, it is pretty interesting, right? Like this idea of
yeah.
growing from like a single community of beta testers to this
Mm-hmm.
big global network of many different communities. You have the hallway. I think most people don't realize that they're only seeing a tiny little slice of Clubhouse. Like
Mm-hmm.
at any point in time, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of rooms happening all over the world, but you might only see 20 of them, right? Because you're always just based on who you follow and the
Mm-hmm.
clubs that you're a part of. Um, but like while you're doing like there are all of these people in all these different corners of Clubhouse, and that's growing every day, that are deeply interested in whatever you're passionate about, and our job is to help you find them and to help them find you. So so it might seem like if you're not following new people, and you're used to seeing a lot of the same shows and stuff in your hallway, it might seem like the world is small. The world's actually quite big, and quickly getting bigger. And there are a lot of opportunities to reach new people. And we just need to make that easier and easier for you.
Mic drop on that.
That was good enough for mic drop. But yeah, we're 9 minutes over. I thank you so much, everyone, for coming to Town Hall. As always, my mind is it always just like, it's crazy to me that people are willing to spend a little bit of their weekends with us. we try and end this thing after an hour to make sure you can get out and enjoy the rest of your day, or the rest of your evening if you're in other parts of the world. Um, Clubhouse it's all about the people, and I say this every week, and I don't think I'm ever going to stop saying that. Like, it's intentionally a blank canvas filled with the faces of amazing, wonderful, creative people, and it's nothing without the community. It is everything with the community, and Rohan and Anu and Maya and the whole team and I are immensely grateful. Like, I can't even believe that we get to spend our time building this thing, and we're here to make it better for you. And we'll be in rooms all the time throughout the week, taking your feedback on this stuff and other things. We've got new user orientation every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. So if you're new to Clubhouse, 6 o'clock Pacific time every Wednesday, we do a full rundown of how the thing works and what what the main features are, what the norms are, and the etiquette. So if that's useful to you, please come to that. Otherwise, we're here every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific for Town Hall. And I'm very excited to ship some good stuff this week and to get that out to you as soon as we can and to keep going. I think the next month or two, we're gonna be shipping a lot of stuff, and it's gonna be really fun. And I think the product will evolve quite a bit. So can't wait to get that stuff out, and can't wait to meet all the new people who are joining. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great rest of your day or rest of your evening, and hope to talk with all of you again soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. See you soon.
Everybody.
Bye, Maya, Anu, Paul.